Guys, it's graphing sine and cosine day 2. So what I'd like to do first is I'd like to go back over how we find amplitude and period, and then I'm going to tell you some 2 new characteristics that you are going to be required to know. But in our notes today, really we're just going to focus on one more new one, and then tomorrow I'll add one more. Okay, so remember, amplitude, that's coming from our A. The absolute value of A is going to tell us how high above and below the x-axis we are going to go. Next up, we have the period. To find period, we have 2 pi over b. That's going to give us one complete curve. If you're using sine, I use the x-axis. If we use cosine, then I use maxes and mins. Okay, next up, we have a phase shift. This is the one we're going to talk about, but not really use yet. Okay, this is where we're going to move right and left. Okay, when you find it, we are going to say opposite C. So in these 2 examples, when you take them out of the parentheses, their signs change. So for x minus 2, that's moving to the right, and for x plus 2, it's moving to the left. Today, I do want to talk about vertical shift. So a vertical shift is going to move our entire graph up or down. It comes from D. Okay, so again, phase shift, I wanted to talk about it. I wanted you to write it down, have it with everything else, but we are going to practice it tomorrow. So now let's try some examples. When we do these examples, the first thing I want to do is identify amplitude, period, phase shift, vertical shift. Notice that I'm also highlighting them in certain colors because by now y'all know how I like to color code. So my amplitude is 2. My period is 2 pi over 1/2. So when I keep change flip, I have 2 pi times 2, which is 4 pi. And my vertical shift is going to go down 2. Now when I go to graph this, I'm going to take care of the vertical shift down 2 first. So this purple line is going to become my new x-axis. Then I'm still going to do my boundary lines. I'm going to go 2 above my purple line and 2 below my purple line. So those yellow lines are my amplitude, that's my boundaries. Since I am a sine function, that means I start on my new origin, which is on the purple line on the y-axis. And then my period's at 4 pi, and in the middle is 2 pi. So that gives me my period, so I can draw my curve. Okay, let's try again. Again, identify amplitude, period, vertical shift. My amplitude is 1, my period is 2 pi over 1, which is just 2 pi, and my vertical shift is up 2. So the first thing I'm going to do is identify my new x-axis. And it's not really an x-axis, it's just how I like to think about it, as well as the amplitudes above and below. Cosine starts on those maxes. So I have at the very, very top at 2 pi and then in the middles. So that's why I have in the middle is my pi. Do it again. Amplitude, period, vertical shift. My amplitude is 4. My period is 2 pi over 3. My vertical shift is 1. Okay? So let's go ahead and give myself my new x-axis and my amplitude boundaries. Now I'm going to change this period to be 2 just so it's nicer numbers for notes. Sine starts at our new origin. My period's at pi. The middle is pi over 2. So those are all x-intercepts. Sine is x-intercepts. Cosine is maxes and mins. Try again. See how it has a -1 up front? I'm going to put that in the back. All right. So now let's identify amplitude, period, vertical shift. So my amplitude is 1. My period is 2 pi over 4, which is pi over 2. Vertical shift is down 1. Identify your new x-intercept at -1. Then I'm going to write in my amplitude boundaries. Cosine is maximums. So I'm going to have my first one, and then my first one's going to be on my y-axis. My next one's over pi over 2. Minimum's in the middle. And then I just keep doing that shift. Your turn.